I'm Kerry Paris. I'm the CEO and founder of iTransit Solutions, based in Atlanta, Georgia.
My name is Hannah Pensick, and I'm the Senior Manager of Inside Sales at Vonage. And the team that I oversee is a national team of SMB sellers who focus solely in the channel with our partner program.
My name is Jason Warnick. I'm the Vice President of Channel Sales. I oversee the SMB channel on a national level. I've been with Vonage for 14 years. We've created a unique model here at Vonage in relation to supporting our partners in that SMB segment. We have a full team of channel managers that work closely with Kerry, as well as a full team of sales AEs that work with Hannah. In the decade that we've been working together, how exactly have you worked with Vonage, and what does your model look like today and how you sell into the SMB segment?
We've got about 60 UCaaS suppliers that we can choose from. We felt that there was a lot of synergy with Vonage, especially in the space that we service. Very common in the industry for us to find that we have a channel manager assigned our deals. We work exclusively with that channel manager. I think where the differentiator for Vonage is, and what we enjoy, is that because of the way the business section is divided up, we start with the channel manager, maybe to find out our resources we're going to engage with, but then we end up engaging mostly with Hannah's team, and we build this synergy with the reps on Hannah's team, and it allows us to really flow those deals nicely from opportunity all the way through to closing.
I think something that we really value in working with our channel partners is we want you to focus on your customers, on your customer success, and trust that Vonage is going to be able to be the Vonage expert, navigate internally to help you close the deal. So again, you can really focus on the main thing, which is your customer.
Working with Vonage over the years, and dealing with the different teams, we build these synergies like you were talking about. And what ends up happening is that they're very aware of the segment that they're in. They know the business that they're in. So as we bring these opportunities in, if we're in the mid-market segment or in the larger segments, a lot of the things that they've seen before come back up. They know how to engage the right resources inside of Vonage, and it really helps in that synergy to get the deal to, from beginning to close.
The interesting thing about the SMB segment in general is there's almost a few different segments within it. You sort of have the micro customer, the mid customer, and then sort of those upper SMB customers. And it can be a different experience for each. And I think where our sellers really partner well with you is taking you through the various experience based on your customers' needs, the size of their business, and what it is that they're looking for.
So as you know, Kerry, we actually have 3 different cohorts within the SMB segment. We define micro as sub 250 MRR. We define the SMB cohort as anything from $250 to $999 MRR. And then anything over $1,000 in the SMB segment we define as the mid-tier. In relation to selling into those segments, what kind of experience do you have in each of those different cohorts? Is it any different?
For us, that whole segment tends to be very similar. Again, because with us and our team at Vonage, we're typically going into the same group of people to do those transactions, right? The scale doesn't really change the opportunity. I don't think at those levels. I think as you get really, really large, it can make a big difference, right? You're going more into an RFP environment. It's just more of a selling to a board. But anywhere in the SMB space is pretty similar. You're going in, you're trying to win the trust, you're trying to, solution whatever it is that we're building for the customer, get their technology in the right direction, bring in those resources. And for us, it's typically, engage Vonage early, bring in the sales rep, go ahead. We like to do a lot of budgetary numbers up front. I hate surprises. I don't want to, and I've been told, hey, fab the deal, get all the way to the end, don't show price till the end. I'm not that guy. I'm going to win fast, we're going to lose fast. We're not going to waste a lot of resources and time. And, because we're a small company, we don't have a lot of resources to waste, right? And I think that's where Vonage really shines for us, is that because of the structure that's been put in place and the fact that we have these different tiers and these different levels to work with, it allows us to run leaner as a company and still, perform at the same level as some of these higher organizations that have way more people than we have.
Something that we've really focused on specifically in SMB channel at Vonage is replicating a quote unquote upmarket experience, down market, referencing specifically to the post-sale customer experience. So as you stated, even if it is a micro customer, we've got those resources to have a dedicated PM into the standard segment. And then of course, in the mid cohort when we're talking about these larger SMB deals, but it's something that we've spent a lot of company resources in the last couple of years trying to replicate that white glove upmarket experience, which our down market customers deserve.
Carrie, you sold a micro deal in the landscaping industry. Can you describe that experience and how it was selling that micro deal?
Absolutely, yeah. So that customer particularly was on an existing solution. They had already made the transition to go over to UCaaS and get off of traditional, 4 or 5 line phone system. So they had gotten the expectation for the different products that they were looking for. They needed to be able to collaborate in the field. They needed to be able to SMS with their customers because a lot of their customers are all residential, so most of them are using a lot of SMS these days. And the product that they had chosen was a value play from one of your competitors, and it just really wasn't functioning the way they wanted to. We brought it over to Vonage as a potential because again we typically lead with Vonage. Sold the customer, set up all the applications that they were looking for, got their cell phones working, and really allowed them to do business the way they wanted to do business and the way they'd been promised to do business by the competitor. We talked about the space, and traditionally you always divided these spaces up because the smaller customers were a little bit more simplistic. They didn't need as many things as the larger customers. And what we're seeing in the shift in technology in general is the small 3, 4, 5 seat customer needs just as many tools as the 50, 60 seat customer because they want to run that efficiency model, right? They want to be efficient. They want to be able to service their customers well. They're competing against customers that are a lot bigger than them, and with the right tools, they can punch above their weight.
So, Carrie, I understand you actually sold a government deal. Can you describe the whole process in selling that higher end deal, maybe from a channel management side through the sales process, and how that looks, how they support you? And what are the different differentiators within that deal that brought Vonage into the mix?
Got brought into the opportunity from the IT department at that location. They kind of dealt with some of our other customers down in that area of Alabama. For them, because they're very rural, connectivity is always a problem, right? So lots of outages associated with their main location going down, dropping their phone system. A lot of the users are remote now ever since COVID, so they're scattered all over South Alabama. Having that ability to use the application for collaboration in case they're having an outage locally because the internet's not great. They need a lot of the collaboration tools that we brought to the table with the app on the desktop as well as the cell phone. Current provider wasn't doing a fantastic job. So as we went in and added Vonage for the UCaaS piece of it, we did a lot of improving the overall architecture, getting them more business continuity, getting more circuits in there so that they minimize those outages at the headquarter locations. And then, remote users, again, the being able to use the app was key for them.
I think that it's pretty standard for the SMB team within an organization to almost be viewed as the JV team in which they want to get promoted to varsity one day. I've worked within this SMB team for over a decade, and we've always been viewed as an equal to our larger our teams that chase a larger TAM, just because we've really been focused on creating a well-polished, a team where people want to stay, they want to grow their career within the SMB, and I think that really comes through to our partners and our customers.
So I understand we also sold a deal in the SMB segment that was a banking deal. It had some complexities to it. The customer was looking for some flexible billing, some technical issues that they were facing as well. Can you kind of describe that experience in selling into that segment?
Sure, absolutely. So, that particular bank had, they weren't billed as one organization, so they needed it to be child parent records in the billing. They needed to have very specific billing by site, which again, a lot of billing systems struggle with, but we could make that happen for them. So that was a really good fit probably about 6-7 months ago, where we had 150 phones that we need to get out, and the customers being cut off by their existing carrier because they were on analog services and they were discontinuing that product in the area. And they didn't look for a solution until, 3 weeks before they were going to be terminated, right? So we found out about it. We went to Vonage. We got phones on site in the same week, and we fully deployed those 150 seats in 8 days. Now, I don't recommend an 8-day deployment, But in an emergency, like I said, I haven't seen any carrier that can go as fast. Vonage is one of the easiest portals that we've seen to get into and manage. It's well organized. The help's very intuitive. It gets you to the tools that you need to make changes. It can walk you through changes that you need to make. My team actually gets a little upset sometimes if I sell something besides Vonage because the portals are so dissimilar, right? Yeah. There's only about 3 providers that really have a well-built portal, in my opinion.
As we look into the future, I mean, how do you see working with Vonage as we move forward? And, what are the things that we can do to make this relationship even better than it is today?
I mean, Vonage is one of our marquee suppliers. I think we're repeated the President's Club, and we plan to three-peat this year, right? So as we move forward, more and more opportunity over into Vonage. The more assistance we can get, the more smooth transitions we can get, ease of experience with the customer on the support side. That's time that it saves us, and time, it's probably the most valuable thing we have as an agency. I can either hire people to get more time, right? So I can be more efficient with the people that I have and the efficiencies, what we try to strive for. Yeah, I think the channel focus from Vonage is apparent, right? I mean, we don't have we don't have as many conflicts as we would with carriers who are not so channel focused. That we've got suppliers that we pretty much have to fight with their direct reps on deals constantly, right? And removing that minutia and allowing us to get out there and prospect opportunities and sell things, because ultimately the time that we don't waste fighting over who's going to get what deal is time we can be out prospecting and selling.
Right. And Carrie, we've worked together a long time, and your partnership is really, really valued with Vonage, and we look forward to working with you and having much success in the future together.
Yeah, sounds good.